In the bustling city of Mirith, under a sky filled with the soft glow of 1,000 streetlights, Johann wandered the streets, his once regal form now draped in the mundane. He had been a god, powerful and revered, but his love for mortals had become his downfall. The gods, fearful of his compassion and the warmth he showed humanity, stripped him of his powers and cast him into the forgotten corners of the world. With no memory of who he was, Johann became a shadow of his former self, lost, broken, and adrift in a world that no longer recognized him. One cool evening, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, Johann found himself walking through an old park, a place he had once visited as a god in his human guise. He paused by an ancient, gnarled tree, its bark twisted and scarred by time, and sat beneath its vast branches. The world felt silent around him, save for the faint rustle of leaves. His thoughts swirled, memories of the divine realm, of the gods he once called family, and of a love that had cost him everything. But just as the night seemed to swallow him whole, a soft voice interrupted his thoughts. "Are you lost?" The voice was clear, filled with a kind of warmth that seemed to melt the chill in the air. Johann looked up and saw her, a young woman with wild, untamed hair and eyes that sparkled with the kind of curiosity he had not seen in centuries. She was staring at him with the kind of intensity that made his heart race, as if she could see something in him that no one else could. "Lost?" Johann asked, his voice rough, unused to conversation. "I suppose you could say that." The woman smiled, her expression filled with a knowing amusement. "I'm Mira," she said, stepping closer. "You look like you've been searching for something." "Maybe I have," Johann replied, his gaze drifting back to the tree. "But I don't know what it is anymore." Mira sat down next to him, her presence calming, like the soft hum of a lullaby. "Everyone's searching for something," she said, her tone gentle but confident. "Some find it, some don't. But the journey, that's what matters." Johann was quiet for a moment, the words settling in his chest like a forgotten truth. Mira was unlike anyone he had met before. There was something about her, something free, something unafraid, that stirred something deep within him. He had once been like that, a being who loved without restraint, who connected with the world around him in ways that no other god had dared. And yet, here he was, a lost soul, forgotten and broken. As the evening wore on, they talked. Mira told him about her dreams, vivid, strange visions of distant lands and celestial beings. She spoke of the world beyond this one, a realm she had always felt connected to, though she could not explain why. Johann listened, captivated by her words. He could sense that she was special, that there was something in her that reached out to him in ways he could not understand. Over the days that followed, Mira and Johann's bond deepened. They spent countless hours together, wandering the streets, sharing stories, and laughing until their sides ached. For the first time in ages, Johann felt alive again, like a piece of himself, long buried, was slowly being awakened. But as their relationship grew, so did Mira's awareness of the strange power that still lingered in Johann. She began to see glimpses of his true nature, the way the wind seemed to swirl around him when he was lost in thought, the way the moonlight seemed to shine just a little brighter when he was near. It wasn't long before she realized that Johann was not just any man. He was something more, something ancient, something divine. One night, after a particularly vivid dream, Mira found herself unable to sleep. Her mind raced with images of Johann, of the power he had once wielded, and of the curse that bound him to the mortal world. She had seen it all in her dreams, a vision of a great god, cast down and forgotten, his power sealed away by the gods who feared his love for humans. The curse had kept him from returning to the divine realm, trapping him in this forgotten state. Mira knew that Johann was more than just a man. He was a god, and the love he had for her, something he had long denied himself, was the key to breaking the curse. "Johann," she whispered one night, as they sat beneath the same ancient tree. "You're not just anyone, you're a god who's been cast down and forgotten." Johann's eyes widened. "How do you know?" "I've seen it," Mira said softly, her eyes glowing with the power of her dreams. "I know who you are. And I know what you need to break the curse." For the first time in centuries, Johann felt a flicker of hope. Together, they could restore his power, restore his place among the gods. But the journey would not be easy. The gods who had cast him down still watched from their celestial thrones, and their wrath would not be easily avoided. But Mira was not afraid. She was a dreamer, unafraid of the impossible. And together, they would find the way. Their journey took them across distant lands, through mountains that reached into the heavens, across oceans that shimmered with the light of forgotten stars. They faced trials, challenges, and the wrath of the gods, but through it all, their love grew stronger. With every step, Johann's power began to return, his divinity slowly awakening from its long slumber. But the final test came when they reached the heart of the divine realm, a place where time itself seemed to bend and warp. Here, Johann was forced to confront his greatest fear, to choose between the love he shared with Mira and the divine realm he had once ruled. In the end, Johann made a choice that would change everything. He chose Mira, the mortal dreamer who had shown him that true divinity was not in power, but in love. As he made this choice, the curse broke, and his powers were restored, but he chose to remain by Mira's side in the mortal world. "You were always my answer," Johann said, his voice filled with both awe and tenderness. "You've always been the key to my freedom, Mira." And together, they lived, two souls bound by love, transcending the boundaries between gods and mortals, finding a place where they could both belong. Under the starry sky, Mira and Johann stood together, their hearts beating in unison. The gods, once mighty and distant, were no longer a threat. And as Mira closed her eyes, she felt the power of the heavens within her, the love of a god at her side, and the knowledge that sometimes, the greatest love stories are the ones that defy fate itself.